Hey, hey, Lisa here, Divine Messages 333 LLC. So this is gonna be me. George and I just started a walk right now, and stuff is really odd. I'm picking up on super odd energy. There's a person across the street, and they keep throwing up a ball and running back and forth, acting like I don't know if they're like acting like they're in baseball and they're gonna pitch a ball, but it they're like way over exaggerating it. It's super weird. I know this sounds weird. Okay, so George wants to keep walking, so I'll just walk and talk. Okay. So, I'm trying to figure out like where to start here, because there's some things I'm not going to mention. And the reason I'm not going to mention it is for possibly your safety, security, and mine. This is who I'm speaking to though. If you have an ex that you ended things with, that was really like no other ending you've had with anyone else before, meaning you believe you have evidence, but you also have very strong intuitive feeling that they have been stalking you or obsessing or watching you and trying to figure out what's going on in your life. That's who this video is for. So, hey, just sorry, this is really hard to do videos and walk George, but usually when I'm walking, it's with him. I'm not usually walking on my own, so I'm also going to keep this video on me like this, which I'd rather have it be a little further out, but for security purposes, we're going to keep it like this. So, let's before I get into today, I'm going to talk about trauma and how trauma is one way our intuitive, some may call it psychic, abilities get triggered or heightened. When we go through traumatic situations, we kind of, there's that fight, flight, freeze. It's actually 4. It's not just like fight or flight. I think maybe it's 3. A lot of people refer to it as fight or flight. But there's also freeze. I don't think there's a 4th. Maybe. I can't remember. Anyway. Basically like a survival mode. Like how does one survive? And that's really what I'm trying to get at, is that our survival mode kicks in. And so for me, when I'm reading energy, when I'm picking up on energy, I'm not doing it. I'm not like, oh, I'm going to go out for a walk and see how the energy feels. I don't like put that intention out that way. I just pick up on it. I feel like that could be why I feel connected to animals as much as I do, because they're very instinctual. So I feel like a lot of the traumas that I've been through, I kind of maybe operate in a similar way instinctually, and I know it can come off as very strange to some people. That might even be why some people don't want to be friends with me anymore, because they might find my behavior to be kind of paranoid or unrealistic, unjust. I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, back. Thanks. So, yeah, that's how our trauma can heighten, strengthen our intuition. And so today, what does that have to do with today? So today, I was picking up on, I was listening to a reading. I'd like to give a shout out to their channel. Ancient Emperor Tarot. He does a lot of live readings. I don't know if they're mostly live readings, but Ancient Emperor Tarot, I have given him a shout out, I think, in the past. I don't know if I still have that up or not. Sorry for all the glare. I don't have the glare thing on my glasses, but anyway. I was listening to a reading he did, and it is, I believe that's my story. I've kind of put a pause on looking into that kind of stuff, although it's always kind of like the situation he was picking up on. And I've been choosing to focus more on my stuff. If you ever feel, if you're the person, again, this is who this reading is for, it's people who've been feeling like they're gang stalked. So basically, if you've wondered, like, if you've literally wondered about being gang stalked, but then also wondered, like, how would they go about that? Why would they do that? So this could really be from an ex that you will not return to. Like, there ain't no way that you two would ever be back together, and you know that that ex knows that. Like, you didn't have that conversation most likely, but you know. And they may think that by them just going silent on you, it gives the impression that they moved on, you got dumped, you got abandoned. They'd probably flip it around and say, no, you're the one that walked away. Yeah, maybe. But because they're who they are, leave it at that. And so what they would have most likely done is used the connections they had with people that you were close to and lie about you. They would have said that you said certain things about people, that you maybe did certain things to them, unforgivable type things, and take advantage of any, like maybe you had some strained friendships or something like that. So they would have like sought those out to find, to build alliances with some people, and then use that to go against you without these people realizing that they're being lied to, although it probably didn't need to twist their arm to get them to kind of, screw you over in some way. Maybe they thought it was on a real low level or something like that. Could have even been like just passing on like location information, like where you live, where you work, if you're seeing anyone. You may have even cut off connections with friends that were like not respecting your boundaries, people that you still would have been like willing to stay connected to, but they just like they were crossing boundaries in some way, and you just like your gut told you like giving them information wouldn't be like a safe option for you, and they weren't maybe respecting that. So as I'm looking, I'm seeing someone's license plate with number 055. So you've made a lot of changes. I'm also seeing the number 2 in front of me. You may have had to, and the road's kind of coming to a T, so I feel like you've had to make some decisions, and you may be feeling like you're at a crossroad, or you may have like been down this path a lot, the crossroads, where you had to go this way or that way. You had to, are we going to stay friends or not? Am I going to let this go, or am I going to stick with it? And so I walked out with George, okay. And as I walked out, there was a bowl, like a Tupperware container that somebody might have, let's say like somebody wanted to leave it out for like water for dogs or something like that. Well, honestly, where I live, the people aren't that conscientious. They're not that nice. They wouldn't do that. And it was blue. It was a color of blue. And what it reminded me of was like windshield washer fluid. But it's right by the door. Kind of like, and there's a lot of people that have dogs in the building. So I kicked it over, dumped it out, and you could see it was kind of like a soapy substance. So it could have been like, kids want to blow bubbles and stuff like that. Except there was no, like, how like in a bubble container it comes with that wand and you stick it in and the water goes in to that, circle thing, and then you blow through it. There wasn't anything like that around. It just seemed weird. It didn't seem like, so I don't know if you've ever, we're gonna go this way, George. I don't know if you've ever wondered like if anyone would bother your pets, bother your kids. Sorry, it's so loud. I wasn't even thinking I'm gonna pause this and I'll come back when it's quieter. Alright, I'm in a little more quieter area, but so there was that bowl, and like I said, the trauma can make us behave in strange ways. It makes sense to us, but to people on the outside, if they haven't been through things like that, traumatic things, they may see it as odd. So I went to throw away my trash before we started walking, and I threw the bags into the dumpster, and all these flies, probably probably, I don't know, a couple hundred flies, all like, at first I didn't know what it was. They all just came out, just like all popped up, almost like, I don't know, like you dropped something in, like water splashing up, but it was all flies. Now that I'm saying that, it's kind of interesting because I was going to talk about what happened next are the feathers. Well, right, stop, George. Okay, so there was first the bowl of liquid that I kicked over, then the flies, then this car drove up, and I turned around because it stopped at the back of the building where I live, and a person was getting out. So I just looked, and it was this person who's been like more friendly with me lately, which personally I'm not interested, but not like, I don't know, I get a weird vibe. Like, I think this person's gonna try to, like, they're trying to talk to me or whatever. I ain't interested. But it's weird because I haven't been trying to avoid this person, but this person's been, like, when I was working at the last location, more recently, they suddenly started showing up there when I hadn't seen them come in before. And they were like, "Oh, you work here? Oh, I didn't know you work here." Like, how are you supposed to know that I work here when I don't talk to you? I don't go around telling people where I work, or it's just weird. And there's another person in my building who lives on my floor, and they too, like this. I'm in a small community. And more, I mean, I know this happens in small communities, but I've been here for a minute, and more recently, these people are showing up a lot, like where I happen to be. And sometimes when I see them walking or on their bike, or I see them like I'm maybe like walking and they're up ahead, I will switch up where I'm going, because it just doesn't, it feels weird. Something about it feels weird. I don't like it. You hear the crows in the background. Someone just screamed. I don't know if you heard that. And a dog's barking. Okay. So the guy gets out of the car, and George and we just walk away. I don't even want to say hi. I'm a nice person, but I'm not the kind of person that's real chit-chatty, or, like, I don't need to know my neighbors. The kind of job I have to deal with the public, but, I say hello, but I'm not like, how's your day going? I'm just not that kind of person, and never have been. I'm totally fine with who I am and how I am, and so I didn't want to stop to be, bullshitting with someone I don't even want to talk to. So we start walking. And I know I've said this in other videos recently, all the feathers, I've talked about the feathers, but there are so many feathers. So what that's telling me is, on a spiritual level, whoever this reading is for, whoever this energy reading is for, whoever this video is for, whatever you want to call this, you are heavily protected. But I'm almost starting to feel like it's more than spiritual. I'm almost starting to feel if you're protected on another level that you don't realize. So I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody made a report. No, there's no sidewalk over there. No, come on, Georgie. Let's say someone filed a report against a person. But you never heard anything. There was maybe nobody even reached out to you about it. Like maybe you put in a call or you went to a station and you filled something out, but no one ever got back to you. Or maybe you were assigned like an investigator, but never went anywhere, right? But what you're not aware of is that, and again, this is an example, but I could be hitting on something for some people, because I don't know why this example is coming to me to explain what I feel like I'm picking up on as far as this extra protection. So let's say, though, that you were assigned an investigator and they actually are looking into it, but you're not aware of that because what you don't know is that there were other people that filed reports against you. And so in order to see if your report was credible, these authorities or something also had to look into reports against you. And so they might have had to follow you depending on what the situation was. And while they were doing that, they started to realize you're not lying, but these other people are. And so if you're still being followed, or the person that made the report is still being looked into or followed, it went from looking at you as someone who potentially filed a fraudulent report to someone who needs protection against these other people who filed fraudulent reports against you, but are the ones who are actually doing something and it's against you, but you're not even aware of it. And so therefore, you may have investigators or something that know your whereabouts or that have followed you. Maybe they know where you work, things like that. And because let me tell you, these feathers are I'm picking up on something super weird too. Okay, so these feathers, I said to myself in my mind, and I kind of thought this also the other day, but I didn't realize, it was almost like a little thought that wanted to start, or a download that wanted to start, but it didn't really develop. But when it came to my mind today, it reminded me of that time, like a few days ago, when I started to get this download, but then it didn't really develop. It's like I saw like a glimpse of something, or I was picking up on a glimpse of something, but it never really like it just kind of like disappeared. But when I saw these feathers, the way I saw them today, it was at a church, and I was like, in my mind, I'm like, are somebody like taking birds and like ripping up birds, or like, how in the hell are there all these feathers? There's so many damn feathers. Like, are birds, excuse me, are they like molting or something? Are they like, how? And it's all different kinds of feathers. It's like, you can tell some are duck feathers, some are crow feathers. I found blue jay feathers, white, like kind of like down type feathers. So I don't know if they're geese or something like that. And so I feel like, yeah, the person this video is for, you are heavily protected in the spirit realm, but I'm starting to pick up that there is a little more than that. So I don't know if you're like someone who hasn't really, like, maybe you've been more like sticking to yourself, isolated. You haven't really felt like you could trust people in general too much, or maybe not that you think they're going to do something to you, but like, you just don't really feel in alignment with these people. I mean, they're coming into your life. Yes, it could be, they're a coworker, or maybe there's just been like a lot of gossip, or you just seeing like kind of like maybe like behaviors you used to participate in, but you don't anymore, and so you're just not really feeling like you want to connect with those people. But so you've been by yourself, right? And so now maybe in doing that, you're better in alignment with people who you are feeling a little safer with, or people you maybe could trust more. And so it could even be protection like that, like people who aren't going to talk about you, someone you can share things with in confidence, and they're not going to go around telling everybody. It could even be something like that. If you're not someone who filed a report, and you maybe like investigators are looking at you or whatever. I keep seeing a lot of fives. So a few minutes ago, when I said I was picking up on something kind of weird, I was walking by a car, and it had the word century on it. And what came to me at that moment was that there is something that it's like a karmic cycle from like 100 years ago. So in a past lifetime, that is like, I'm hearing wrapping up. So like maybe there wasn't justice in a past lifetime, and this is kind of playing out in a similar way, obviously in the car horn, obviously in a more modern way, right? But like, for instance, let's say somebody was dealing with an ex that was like kind of a stalker. Maybe 100 years ago, they'd actually have to get people to physically follow someone, maybe break into their home, invade their privacy, things like that. These days, people can do it on a cyber level, So, 100 years ago, what would that have been in 1925? 100 years ago, if police were investigating a person, they'd most likely see these people. Communities were smaller. I'm sure our population was less. It wouldn't be as obvious, or it would have been more obvious, I think. But now these days, people can track people. They could get into. I know this is gonna sound paranoid, but let's really be realistic for the times we're living in. Someone could break into someone's house. They could even do it in a legal way. Your landlord could be bribed, right? And then they could enter your home and someone could put like a camera in your home, right? So you don't even know that you're being watched. I had a thought. I'm trying to get it back. I also keep seeing moving trucks. So I don't know if you're doing some type of plan, like you're trying to plan to move, or something's going to happen where you need to move, or someone's trying to move in around you, or things are moving in, like getting like something's closing in. I don't really. I hope this doesn't sound like I'm rambling. I hope that if this video came up on the right person's feed, that you're still here, you're following me, you're getting something from this. If anything, to just be aware of your surroundings. But I'm not trying to scare anybody. I just, I really feel like you are heavily, heavily protected. I'm just starting to feel it's on another level that you're not aware of. I do feel like moving is in your near future. If you're resonating with this video, I do feel moving is in your near future, and it's probably happening because even if you've moved a lot and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to move again, but I really feel like think of it like being kind of plucked up and put somewhere safer. Not that you're not safe, but because these days people can, you other than like going, what is that, off grid, we don't even realize how people can get our information. And someone I used to be connected to never showed an interest when we were connected, never showed an interest in stalking people or trying to get into their private information, but one of the last times I was around this person, they were watching these videos of people those scams where someone's in another country and they're calling to try to get money off of somebody, whether it's a collector or they're like, oh, I'm in this country and I need help, be my friend, blah blah blah, send me some money. Well, it was these videos of I don't know if they were investigators or if this was just like an average person who was trying to bust these people, saying like, oh, we know what you're doing and stuff. And I questioned them. I was like, why are you watching that? And what they told me, I didn't buy it in the moment. I was like, no. I mean, I didn't tell them I wasn't buying. Well, I might have given the impression that, yeah, it wasn't. I think you're full of crap, but it wasn't. Okay. So what came to me was rather that they were actually kind of researching how investigators catch these people so that they can learn how to not be caught. And I'm seeing a butterfly right now. A white butterfly. White butterflies and the number 33 tell me that you're on the right path. So I don't know if I just said something that was accurate. This person was also watching, if you remember this show, used to be very, I don't want to say popular, but it had big ratings, I guess, when it first came out. To Catch a Predator. This person was also watching that show, and the two of us had never, sorry, I'm trying to unfold the bag. The two of us had never watched that show, and we were connected a long time, like more than a decade. That person never, the two of us, we didn't watch that show. I had seen that show before we met. My battery's running low. I'm going to wrap this up soon. But before we met, I had watched that show. It wasn't just because it was like on. I don't know if it was like I just didn't turn the channel or what, but I had seen that show. Anyway, it was like I had been noticing that on the YouTube, like watched videos, because we kind of shared an account, that was popping up. And I asked them, why are you watching that? Like, that's kind of weird, that you're now taking this interest, because the show's about catching pedophiles, basically, or predators. I mean, it's called To Catch a Predator. And I don't know, whatever they told me, it was the same thing. Like, it just came up. I'm like, well, interesting that would just come up on the feed, since you're claiming to not watch anything that's similar to that. But I wasn't buying it either. Georgie, please. Sorry, he gets like so stubborn sometimes when he starts sniffing something. Which is funny because the last couple days I've been calling George an investigator. What was the other word I used? Oh, an inspector. I've also been like Inspector Gadget, because he'll just like hardcore sniff stuff. And you just can't like pull him away. He's just like on it and he ain't letting go. Oh, the other thing, another sign that I got, that when I was listening to Ancient Emperor Tarot's reading this morning, I think it was yesterday morning, and I took a picture. I'll probably post it. I'm really bad at posting all my photos, but if you're interested in things that I find that I do pick up, I get downloads from objects that I find. I post them on my channel under the community section And you can see those. You can also test your own intuition, you know, maybe get something different for your own situation. But it was a blue comb, just a big blue comb laying right there on the sidewalk. And I didn't pick it up. I didn't keep it. Sometimes I don't keep the things, I just take the pictures. So what it was telling me, it had something to do with communication because it was blue. But what I got was that like somebody might be looking through something like with a fine-tooth comb. And I also saw a little white golf ball yesterday again. And that's telling me like, well, that could have been a separate message about just needing to kind of zero your focus in on something. But if it pertains to this message, it could mean that someone's zeroing their focus on something and they're looking over things with a fine-tooth comb, which makes me think of an investigator. Hold on, that's kind of windy. Okay, just needed to let the wind go by. Just looking for somewhere to sit so I can stop wandering around. Wind's picking up again. Hopefully you can hear me. I've been seeing a lot of dragonflies. There's one, it's really big. It's right in front of me. Let me see if I can show you. See that? I don't know. I'll look back and see if you can see it, but it was a really big one. I do feel like you aren't the same person that you used to be, and whoever is watching you that you used to be with, because I do believe that they are watching you, or they're getting information on you, or they could have even hacked into your stuff, and somehow they are kind of seeing your life in some way. It probably gives them the feeling that they're still part of your life, but because they know that they can't be without forcing themselves to be. And that's a way of forcing their way in, actually, like intruding upon your life, but you don't even have knowledge of it, which is weird. Yeah, so I think in the beginning of this, I started saying that I kind of like paused on that chapter of my story. But lately, there's certain readers I like to watch, and sometimes if a video pops up in my feed and instinctually I'm feeling called to it, I will watch it. And very, very recently, here, we're going to go this way, George. Very, very recently, that part of the story, part of my story, that chapter has been popping back up with these details. And this energy has been popping up in readings I've been doing, but I've been doing less readings with cards recently and doing more like the energy stuff like I'm doing now. I have picked up, like I posted 6 shorts yesterday, and those I was pulling cards with to music. I was pulling cards to music. Okay, so I just saw like a homeless person. Somebody might be facing homelessness and they really wanted that for you. But if your dharma, good karma, if you are experiencing dharma right now, they are definitely on the flip side experiencing karma. They wanted you to be homeless. You most likely had some type of very, very hard struggles with your stability, with your you know, foundation. Get up. Please stop doing that. I'm also seeing a huge rooster right there. It's huge. Like, let's walk over there. You can see how big this thing is. And there's a white butterfly again. I don't know if you saw it pass through. This is how big this rooster is. Roosters are loud. They wake up. They come in the morning and they wake up. You might be getting a very big wake-up call. Someone else might be getting a very big wake-up call. This could be your wake-up call. Roosters in the Chinese astrology also are someone who can be very loud. Loud as in, could be a loud dresser, could be a loud personality. They're very smart as well. They could be very vocal. Yeah, you can look into what a rooster has to, and then, the top part, I forget what that's called, but that's really, it's very, red, like I just showed you. So that could be like a warning. It could be a warning call, something like that. This could be a warning call. Across the street, I'm looking right now. They're at an apartment with a for rent sign on it, so definitely somebody's moving. And I'm also seeing, I'm seeing four signs. I see 2 stop signs. I see a do not enter. And then somebody wants to turn, like a sign, like don't make a right turn, They'll have red on the signs, and it's all to not do something. I don't know if someone is getting a lot of signs, like the person who's targeting you. I don't know if they're getting a lot of signs to stop doing something, to not go a certain way. They're getting signs that they can't enter, they can't be a part of, or they're trying to make that your reality. Or if things are kind of happening like that, like, oh, you're trying to go for this opportunity and you can't do it. You're trying to go down this road and, oh, it's not working. That's for your protection. And it's also on a road that is the number 5. I'm not going to say if it's a boulevard, street, avenue, parkway, whatever, but it's the number 5. And yeah, change. So, this is probably where I'm going to leave it. How long has this video been going? I don't know, I can't see right now. I'm going to, I finally found a place to sit. Get up. Finally found a place to sit. Okay. And there's that white butterfly in the distance again. So, yeah. I kind of ended at a school here, and that's telling me that you've learned a lot of lessons. Someone may need to learn a lot of lessons. Could be the other person I'm speaking of. You may also need to do like some research, or there may be things that you need to learn, or maybe you're just going to school to improve your circumstances. This might be confirmation for that. I have been seeing a lot of spiders lately. I forgot to post this as a short, but it was I was going into my building, and when I closed the door, it's a glass door, I looked because I saw something kind of like, it didn't make a sound, but it looked like it was like tapping, like hanging and tapping the window, and it was like a kind of like a spider that size. So I took a video, I made a video of that. But all these spiders are telling me that you have abundance. You have abundance all around you. Just make sure you're paying attention to, make sure you're paying attention to signs that are like pretty obvious. You're not getting distracted. You're using your discernment, because abundance can also be an abundance of problems, an abundance of bills, an abundance of rejection. And if you entertain that energy from the past, or you ignore a lot of signs, you don't know what you're calling in, So anyway, I'm going to I want to keep ending, and all this stuff keeps coming to me. I keep seeing something else. Like, I'm seeing the red fire hydrant here, and it's reminding me of this card that I found, that I was going to post a picture of, but it was like a rating of chili peppers, and each was like 1 level, 3 chili peppers, like, hotter level, 6 like extremely hot, But when I picked that up and when I saw that fire hydrant, it was telling me the heat is getting turned up, or someone's getting real pissed, or there's like, there's going to be like almost like a fire that needs to be put out. Hopefully not literally a fire that needs to be put out, but I'm hearing firebug, so I don't, yeah. I'm just going to leave it at that. Take what resonates, leave what does not. But if your gut, if something that you've heard on this video, if you've listened this long, leave a comment. Let me know what time it is on the video right now as you're watching this. Let me know how long someone's actually paid attention to this, because I do feel like these are important details for someone. Hopefully not very many people, but I do know that there are people out there that are dealing with this kind of situation. I just don't know if this video is going to reach them or not. And you leaving a comment or a like helps this video get out and then get into the onto the feed of the people that do need to hear it. So you would be helping me help others if you would kindly, leave a message or a like. But I don't know what I was just saying. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it here. And, yeah. I hope you got something out of it. And if this sounds like it's for someone then share it with them. Maybe that could be the reason why you came upon it, is because you're the connection that can actually help that other person. So, pay it forward. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time.